Hello, my name is Carla Simmons and I'm with Herman Miller. I'm a past president of the Chicago chapter of Cornet Global. And with me today is Patricia Rotondo, Senior Principal and Director of Design with Antonovich Associates. Hi Patricia, how are you?
Good, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today.
Thanks for agreeing to do this. The chapter, in sort of the spirit of spreading inspiration, if you will, wanted to try something new, and the idea was to interview professional women within our industry in the city, talking to you about your experiences throughout your career. And it's called 15 Minutes. Oh, I'm sorry, 15 Women in 15 Minutes. So really happy to have you here today.
Thanks for having me.
So we've got 15 minutes together, and I think traditionally the way everyone sort of takes these interviews is, let's start with your career path. And I do want to get there, but there is a question I want to start with, and I'm leading the witness, but I think it will get us to that career path because I know that you have a really interesting story and I want to make sure that you're able to share your story. So my first question is about even a challenge that you've had in your career. So if you could share with us a time throughout your career when something happened, maybe somebody criticized you or gave you really bad advice that ended up being, for you personally, really good advice, and the criticism helped you versus hurt you in your career. Can you share with us anything like that?
Sure. Are you sure you only have 15 minutes?
I know. It should be 30 women in 30 minutes.
30 women in 30 minutes. No, 50 women in 50 minutes.
Yeah.
I think that brings me back to where my career started back in Colombia when I went to college for architectural school. And we were in our last year of architectural school doing our project. And the professor at the time, we're talking about 1991, 1992. And the professor at the time told me and told 5 women that were in my studio, 5 out of 120.
Out of how many?
120.
Wow.
Yes. So he said to us, ladies, go home, cook rice, get married, have babies, and that's what you guys are good for. Architecture is not for you. And mind you, we were in our last year doing our thesis project. So we had a run through a 5-year program, sleepless nights, just trying to compete and trying to just learn as much as we could. And we were taken by it. And at the time, we didn't know who to turn to. We just put our head down and start working really hard and took that advice, not an advice, that was more of a something that he said to us that we should be doing. And that's from the professor. We took it and made something out of it. So we put our heads down, worked really hard, and this project was actually at the end when we graduate. It was exhibited at the Colombian Institute of Architects, which is the equivalent of the American Institute of Architects. So it's just taking something that somebody said that it sounds negative, and it was negative at the time, but took it into a positive, spin it around to do the best we could. And that's what, I guess that's what put me where I am today.
Did you ever consider that?
During the time, no, because when you're going through different situations, you are just doing what is right and when you feel is right for you, and the things that you just keep doing things. Not until now, when I look in retrospective, that I can see how those things that happened led me to where I am today.
So, and I guess then connecting that bridge to how you got to Chicago and that sort of fueling probably more that personal fire, right? Like, not only am I not going to go home, make rice, get married, and have babies, but I think I even want to take a step further. how did you get here? Tell us about that, and how does that connect to that story?
Well, when I graduated from the architectural school, there was no jobs. Colombia was in a social economical turmoil. There was a lot um,
Yeah.
uh, uh, city guerrillas, urban guerrillas were called at the time, and the construction. The city looked like a bomb just had gone down, and everything stopped. There was nothing going on. So I thought to come to the States to get a postgraduate, to get a master's, and then go back and open my business. So I didn't. I would have something to do and learn something new to come in and bring new technology, new things that were being done here to start a new business. So that was the big grand scheme. And when I graduated here at the States, I went to Michigan, and they give you a 1-year practical training. And by working during that year, that is how I continue to get to continue to work. And that first I ended at VOA Associates, which now is a Stantec, and I stayed there for 10 years.
So tell us a little bit about that story. How did you, so, and I think that because we only have a short period of time, I want our audience to understand truly what a Herculean effort it was for you to come to this country, to get your degree, and the effort that you made then to find employment. I mean, because the goal was, right, to work for that year,
Mm-hmm.
go back, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. That was the master goal.
Right. So how did you get from Michigan to Chicago to VOA?
Well, being new to a country, new to the city, and not knowing anybody, I went to the AIA and got the book that has all the architectural firms in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down the list, and it was a phone book. For those of you who don't know, a phone book is a book that has, there was no online, there was no Google. Yeah.
Right.
So I got the book, and I went to the store, and I bought a map of Chicago. The map, I went up and down the list of different firms and the size of the firms and the map, and found them along Michigan Avenue. So I looked for them all the way up and down, pinned them up, and then with the book, I started calling the firms and asking for whomever was receiving resumes at the time. And I will show up at the door and ask for the person and say, hey, I talked to you on the phone, here is my resume. So I got about 120 letters of rejection. I saved to today. I still have them. A lot of the firms downtown.
You still have your letters of rejection from the early.
Yeah, I don't know why I saved them. I still have those. I think it's just that moment in my life where you feel nobody, you don't know anybody, you don't understand what is going on. Everybody tells you have to have 1 year experience to be able to hire you. Or we are looking for a 2-year experienced person to hire. And you are thinking at that time, how am I going to get that year of experience if you don't want to hire me to get that year of experience?
Right.
And part of me now thinks, if I go back and tell them what an opportunity would have been for you to have me in your firm. Because when people come to the office nowadays, when they come to Antonovich and they're looking for a job, I look for the personality and the people, and I know I can teach the craft. And that is how we have built our team. So,
but that also takes, though, Patricia, that takes confidence and tenacity to be new in this country and to be knocking on doors relentlessly and having the confidence to go in and be able to talk to these principals in some cases, right, about why it should be you. Where does that come from? Like, where have you always had that grit and that tenacity about you? Is that learned? Is that out of, like, where does that come from?
Okay, first you have a really good cup of Colombian coffee. From my hometown, I must say.
Okay.
No, I think it's that determination that um, nothing is possible. That everything you set your mind to, it can be possible. And if you work hard, and if you knock at 120 doors, one door will open. That is so, that thought that never give up. Always look for what you want to do, the things that you're passionate about, the things that you love to do. If there is always a way. There is always a way. It's just trying to find a way, like not giving up. And my thought at the time was, I want to get that year of practical training so I can go back and really bring new things, new technology that we can benefit from in Colombia, which was in a really bad um, civil unrest at the time. So it was just that goal of learning and meeting new people and trying to get as much as I could with a
And
good.
with what? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just said with a good cup of Colombian coffee.
So, I guess that sort of plays into where many of our colleagues, right, and peers are today, with maybe a sense of frustration. There's people that are nervous, right? There's trust issues around where we're going to land with all of this. When there's times, and this is unprecedented, right? I mean, since you've been here, we've been through the recession of 2008. You were here through 9/11. Any of the crises that the United States has endured since the early 90s, you've been here for. Now, and it's affected our colleagues, it's affected our industry. And I know for you personally, as a principal at Antonovich, it affected you personally and professionally, but personally, in having to make some really hard decisions around when this all started. What advice or what guidance would you give your peers and your colleagues during this time, as far as, what do you do to recharge? How do you keep the faith? What gives you, what's your North Star?
Sure, that's a really good question, Carla. Um, we had all been affected by it, and unprecedented, something that we had never experienced before, and we are all learning every day, but all finding new things every day. Well, personally, in my personal life, I have taken a step back and connected with the basics, connected with nature, connecting with the things that somehow we either forgot to do because we were too busy running around, or we things that we love to do that we stopped doing just because we just got doing other things. Going back to the basics, I think that is one advice that I will give my peers. Just connecting within yourself and um, learning to love Mother Nature, learning the things, or loving the things that we learn how to do in our early stages. And professionally, yes, it has been a very hard journey since this started. And reassessing everything, reassessing the teams, and figuring out what are the best things to do for everybody. Because we're responsible, we know our teams, and they are responsible for their families, and they are responsible. It's a fact, it's a bigger deal. And making decisions is not easy. So we step back, and instead of being inside the problem and looking at the problem for what it is, we step back out and looking at the problem, sort of looking from the outside in and breaking it down and figuring out the steps and figuring out the pieces that makes it a solution. That is the thing, solution driven, trying to find solutions for the different. We all know the problem, we all know what is going on, we're all learning about it, on the outside and finding solutions to make it better. It's never easy, but breaking it down and staying true to yourself, I think that has helped me really help others within our organization.
Well, and I think probably the perspective of having other opinions, right? So getting, like you said, getting out of that bubble. Because sometimes when it's right in front of us, it's really hard to see different ways through. And
Absolutely. I think that's key too. Very key to find. People say great minds think alike, or what we say, many minds, better solutions. I think that is the key too, to find different ways of how we all see things. We see things in one way, and somebody else sees it a different way. And that until that is brought up, that you can see it differently, or you learn new things that helps you formulate your own decisions in a different way. So it takes a lot of breaking things apart, down, and always working as a team. I find to be the most successful and when I'm working within a team, always. And so we tackle the problems that way, working with the team and finding different solutions, working together. Yeah.
I'm sure now and more than ever, that's so valuable and great advice. So I think we only have a couple minutes left. I don't know for sure because my timer didn't turn on. So I think we're close to our time. But I want to, before we end, when you talked a minute ago about, you said something interesting as far as getting to know Mother Nature and finding those sort of outlets. Have you do you have a new relationship with me?
I do.
And if so, could you share that with us? No, seriously.
Well, I have a couple things that I've been doing. One, I have truly connected with Mother Nature, planting a garden. My husband, Nick, which you know, he has always loved to plant. He comes from his father, and he has a large garden. This year, I finally went out to help him, and it grew 5 times. So now we have this very large garden, and I created a little ecosystem in the back of the backyard where I have strawberries and pumpkins and birds that come and eat, and so create a new home. So that gives us a little bit of an outlet.
It's a lot of work, but it's also very fulfilling. It can be, yeah.
Yeah, very fulfilling. And another thing that I started doing again is I started doing hand drawings, which I used to do a lot, and I stopped just because of busyness of life. And so I'm finding what people expressing people's personalities and what they like and who they are, expressing them in a drawing. And then I send it to them with a nice little note, letting them know how much I love them and how much they mean. So that was my...
Well, I personally have been fortunate to be a recipient of one of those hand drawings. And while I've always known that you're a great artist, I don't think that I've ever seen drawings like what you've been producing over the last 4 or 5 months. And you have made people's days with what you've been sending. And then not only the beautiful drawings, but the words that go along with them. So very special to have that unique gift. I guess we should say a full disclosure, right? Perhaps.
Yeah.
Those of you, I guess, who've been in the industry a long time may know that Patricia and I are sisters-in-law. Patricia is my brother. But I get a twofer because not only is she a wonderful friend and sister-in-law, but she's this consummate, accomplished professional who I continue to learn from every day. So I am thrilled to have been able to do this with you. And again, if we get more time, we could definitely cover another 45 minutes of more great things to know about Patricia Rotondo.
You're so sweet, and same here. I love having you as a partner, a family friend, and in the industry. Have ups and downs in the industry, and having somebody that can have your back and lift you up is very important. So it has been a quiet journey, and I love that you are part of it as well.
Thank you. Well, I think that ends our time together. I really appreciate you doing this, and you're really busy, and so to take a few minutes out, I know I showered today for this. I dressed up
as well.
But I really appreciate your time. I love hearing about your story. And if anyone out there runs into Patricia, her stories are just really interesting and fun. And it says a lot about this woman who has accomplished so much in just a short period of time. So thank you, Patricia.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me and so much fun. I will make sure to send you some Colombian coffee.
Some what?
I will send you some Colombian coffee. And anybody in the audience that wants some.
I would like a pumpkin and an eggplant as well, please, and some basil.
Oh, that's too.
Okay. All right.
All
Ciao,
right,
Tia.
thank you.
Have a good one.
You too. Gracias. Bye. Bye.